Yo, what's going on, guys? It's We the Peoples here, coming to you with a new video today. Yes, I have my camera back. I was having some technical issues, and couldn't show my camera, but now I'm back. I am also streaming on Twitch. Anybody that doesn't know that I actually stream on Twitch, I will leave my links down below if people want to check out my Twitch. Also, we do have Mystic Shot coming up today and also next week and also week after. Mystic Shot weekly tournaments. Pretty much most people just use it as their seasonal prep. So yeah, that's also gonna be in the links down below as well. So for today, I won't be doing any topic or game. Well, I do have a topic, obviously, but I won't be doing any gameplay for this video because in this video we're gonna be reacting to the Mastering Runeterra podcast where Rubin actually showed up, and we're just gonna give our thoughts and opinions on basically what he's saying, what's coming up for the scene, and just in general, just deciphering it just in case people didn't understand it. So yeah, that's about it. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, that's it. Honestly, I don't have anything else to say. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay, the #1 source for competitive Legends of Runeterra news and information. If you're looking for the best decks to play right now, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Master Runeterra or in our Discord.
Yo, first thing I want to say is, that intro is kind of hot. I ain't gonna lie. That intro is kind of fire. I ain't gonna lie.
Check out our Runeterra team on Patreon.
Speaking of fire,
and one-on-one coaching. Now strap in and grab yourself some Poro snacks.
All right, we'll skip past
with Jay, Bay, and special guest Steve Rubin on loan from Riot Games, here to talk to us about maybe not everything competitive, but a lot of things competitive. Before we jump into that, though, we have to thank all of our subscribers and all of our patrons. Thank you guys so much for your support. Let's just do awesome stuff like this, like bring you podcasts with members of Riot. Steve, welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me back. It's been a while.
Yeah, right. Do you guys remember how long it's been? It's been about a year, I want to say.
I think it's been pretty close to a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hair was longer.
That's right.
That's all I remember. That's how I tell time during
man, say he tells time by how long his hair is. I'm dead.
during COVID was how long my hair was, and now that it's gone, I'm like, oh, I don't know when that happened.
You just look at pictures like that was May. I'm pretty sure, lengthwise.
That was this long ago. Yeah.
For anyone who maybe doesn't know who you are, do you want to give a quick introduction to yourself? I could do it, but I don't want to do it not justice. And also, I'm curious because I know your role has changed.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna roll past a little bit because, like, I think we know Rubin. I think we know Rubin. Actually, nah. You know what? Just in case it's some new people that literally don't know who Rubin is, I will leave it in his title because he'll literally talk about his title, talk about what he's working on and stuff like that. So I won't skip past it. I'll leave it in.
But I don't want to do it not justice. And also, I'm curious because I know your role has changed in this last year. I'm curious, where it's at and stuff now.
Yeah, so I am a game designer on Legends of Runeterra. I guess I forgot my name. Maybe it's early. I'm Steve Rubin, and a lot of people know me as Rubin Zoo. And I'm a game designer on Legends of Runeterra. So game designers on Legends of Runeterra primarily are working on cards. So I do work on expansions as well as balance patches. So anything from fixing bugs on your cards to designing new champions and creating new archetypes and mechanics and coding them all into the game. That's kind of what game designers do on Legends of Runeterra, the card designers. I do work on that, but I also am now sort of the lead on tournaments. So in addition to the normal card stuff, I am sort of...
So I hope you guys listened carefully how Rubin is not only a game designer, but I mean, I think he said game developer, but he's not only on the developing side, but he's also the head of tournaments. So that's very important because up to this point, Legends of Runeterra has not had any kind of head of tournament at all. Like there was no head person for tournaments at all up to this point. So this is new.
Responsible for outlining a new system for competitive play. And that's been something that I sort of started working on in the second half of last year. It used to be Riot Cotton Candy, and he did a great job with all the seasonal tournaments and making worlds happen from nothing. So definitely props to him. And yeah, I'm kind of moving over, and I'd love today to talk a little bit about some of the transitions we're doing this year. So yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I think that some of this stuff it's really exciting for me because a lot of this stuff we work way ahead of time, and seeing players leave all this feedback, and it's like, oh, how are we going to address it? So yeah, that's what I've been working on now, and hopefully I can share some with that today.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to have a competitive conversation for a really long time. It's kind of our bread and butter. Now, would you say you have competitive card game experience?
Yeah, I think so. I've been ranked one on the ladder.
A little bit.
But yeah, no, I think
just a little bit.
Professional Magic Gathering player, traveled the world. I hit platinum, which is the sort of the highest pro level in Magic for 3 years in a row, and I went to the World Championships twice. So it was definitely that time was super exciting for me, and as a player and now a dev, I love to sort of take that take what I learned there and kind of put a lens through what kind of competitive system would I be interested in, since that was sort of how I ended up in this role in the card game industry. Is from my roots in Magic, so it's always good to sort of
I just want to stop it there. So that is actually super important as well, because we know Rubin is not just some random that has never played card games ever, right? He's played card games professionally in Magic. He plays Legends of Runeterra like a lot. He's made it to rank 1 multiple times in the game. So him being the head of tournaments is incredibly huge, in my opinion, because he knows what the game needs. He knows where to kind of take it. So I think this is incredibly big, and I think that again, that's why I wanted to make this video, because I think not enough people are really talking about how big this is for the scene, and just in general, this is a huge turn of events, in my opinion, for the competitive scene. So
use that past experience, but at the same time, there's a lot of unique things to lore that we need to consider, and that's been really one of the most difficult things is what is necessarily the best for the upper echelon type players that I call them, and the system that we're actually moving towards is sort of both trying to attack two problems. One is how do we better serve our upper echelon players, players like Jason, players like Majin, players like Alan, people who are really into the competitive system, but at the same time, how do we actually get more players? And I'm calling this kind of going wide. We're how do we get more players involved in tournaments? And those two things are often sort of at odds with each other, but hopefully we can attack those this year.
Yeah, and
which what Rubin's saying is literally exactly what I feel like every tournament organizer has been trying to deal with when it comes to this game. Is not only do you want to make your tournaments open to the pros, obviously, you want people that are really good at Legends of Runeterra to play in your tournaments, but you also want to make your tournaments open to new people. You want to allow an alley of basically allowing new people to want to play in your tournaments. And I think that kind of balance is very hard to to have, because obviously if say for instance What Am I is versus a new player, it's kind of OD, right? It's alright. It's you about to get smoked. You already know the deal. So it that having that balance is hard, but it's just something that you have to have. Like, I feel like people in the card game environment and in the card game community, I'm not saying that they soft, but I feel like we just need to focus less on like getting smoked or like getting your ass beat or like losing, and really just focus more on like playing the game and playing the game more in a competitive nature. Like, cause you're gonna lose. Like, I'm saying like, what am I versus a new person? What am I is gonna win? But like, that's like maybe like if we're talking about percentages, that's probably like 80% of the time. What am I is probably gonna win, but that 20% could happen. Like, let's not get it twisted. If that person draws the right card at the right moment, and or let's say what am I is on some kind of lineup that's like weird, and he's bringing decks that like lose to aggro, and the new person brings straight aggro, like, hey, what am I might get smoked. It could happen. So in general, I think that we need to get out of this mindset of like, oh, if I lose, then the game is bad, and start thinking more of like just wanting to be competitive, because that's what it comes down to. Like, you wanting to propel your competitive scene, you wanting more people to play, people that don't care about losing, because like you're gonna lose. Like, I mean, like you just saw on stream, Unhinged got beat, but there are times when Unhinged beats my ass. Like he smokes me. Like, I don't get a win. Like, I barely do anything. And like you saw on stream, vice versa. Like, it can happen like that. So, I think that people need to just stop getting in a mindset where they don't want to lose, in my opinion.
Just to clarify for people, because I know sometimes there's some confusion around what we're talking about when we're talking about tournaments or organized play. Can you kind of list it from like maybe sort of like the bottom to the top of the things? Because you're not just in tournaments, right? You're also doing like gauntlets, for instance. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, can you like give the? So we're talking about tournaments. It's not just like seasonals, right? It's the whole like ecosystem of sort of competitive. Also, is another word that gets thrown around that we use, but it's a little confusing at times. So you want to maybe break that down a little bit for our listeners?
Yeah, so I think where it starts is at the base level, where like anybody can go into the game and play the ranked ladder. That is sort of like the baseline for PvP in Legends of Runeterra. But that definitely doesn't always necessarily lead to sort of sorry, I kind of caught myself there. But the ladder is sort of like the baseline.
Yo, my man Rubin was about to spill it all. Yo, my man Rubin was about to give it all to us. He was about to spill all the beans. Yo, I like Rubin. No cap. I like Rubin.
Play, but then organized play, or competitive, as some people call it, is really that next step of like, hey, what if I want to take Legends of Runeterra, or any game for that matter, a bit more seriously than just like playing on the ladder? And for that means usually for card games is tournaments. Like, how do I test my skills? How do I prove myself as a player? How do I go in there and earn rewards? Like what's the difference between a game that I just kind of play for fun on the ladder and one that I play competitively? Like, what are my sort of like big long-term motives for playing the game? And that's sort of what I work on with tournaments. And you're totally right, Jason, that it's not really just tournaments. It's almost like at Riot we would call it like metagame systems. Like, what are the things that motivate players to play other than just the game itself? Because a lot of the times, and for lore for many years, that's kind of what carried us, was the core gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I think the things that motivate players to play the game, obvious things like, money, giving out Riot coins, obvious stuff. But there's also recognition. I think recognition goes a big way. I don't think we use that enough in this community. There's also little things like trophies and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I don't think that's hard to understand and really equate it to something is understanding why players play the game. Like at a competitive level, I think there's a lot of reasons why people play the game at a competitive level. Honestly, all right, let's hear what the rest he's talking.
But now, baseline talking about gauntlets and tournaments, we want to find out ways to, both give players,
Sorry about that,
let players
guys.
experience variety. Like I think a lot of players have been playing like the standard war rank ladder for a long time. And the other one is almost like a competitive feel. Like right now we have the seasonal tournaments, but those only happen, every 2 or 3 months, right?
True.
And I think having more bite-sized ways to have that competitive feeling and to have the sort of like, oh, I'm playing for something more than just the number of my ladder rank is going to be really important to get players keep playing. So I think organized play, and this is like a really complicated answer to Jason's question, is really just anything that gets players like playing the game, which sounds silly because it's like, oh, it's a game, like you play for fun. But I think all of us know like strategy games are really about that idea. At least for me, I'm kind of personally I never said that I was like addicted to Magic, but I was addicted to getting better at Magic. Like the idea that I am like progressing just by becoming smarter was always something that was super exciting. But if you don't have ways to test your skill against other players, really, you don't get that feeling of like, oh yeah, I'm getting better. So that's kind of where we're at.
Exactly.
Okay. I see what Ruben is saying here. He tried to be vague, but he was also pretty direct in a way. And I kind of understand what he's saying. So pretty much they're probably gonna be not canceling seasonals, but they're going to be changing seasonals. And it might happen where maybe it's something running along seasonals, but I don't know. I think the likelihood of it, in my opinion, the likelihood of what's going to happen is they're going to make tournaments like seasonals happen less and make smaller tournaments happen way more often, which it's a good and bad thing. I think it does actually suck for people like me, because if there's a Riot tournament every single week, then there's no point in Mystic Shot. Honestly, there's no point in me running Mystic Shot, because if there's a Riot tournament every single week, then there's no point. But I mean, it's good because more people would have access to it, because I only have access to the amount of people that I can communicate with. People on Twitter, people on Reddit, people on my Discord. That's the only people I have access to. But Riot and the Legends of Runeterra devs, they have access to everybody that plays the game. So this is a good thing. Actually. This is a good thing. So I could probably focus on like other tournaments or like more unique tournaments instead of like a weekly tournament, like maybe something like Mystic Shot. I'm down.
Yeah, maybe, and this is probably a good segue. But yeah, for me, it's, you really kind of hit the nail on the head here, because since Worlds, I haven't really played a lot of Runeterra. I love the game. I absolutely love it. I'd be happy to play it all day, every day if I, was so incentivized to, kind of thing, and challenge myself. I want to play against the other best players, and I want them to be on their best game.
Yes,
and
you understand.
I was the best on that day, and that's why I love playing. And yeah, when we don't have that system, for players like myself at least to like come together and actually make it matter and know that someone's trying on the other end and make it feel like you earned it. The ladder's not quite cutting it. So so this is probably a good, like I was saying, a good segue though. For why don't you tell us, what sort of you've been working on or what you've been digging into, and you mentioned about how things are very different for Legends of Runeterra compared to other games because it is so unique. There's no paper game tied to it. The game is extremely accessible. There's not like a very big, paywall or anything. You don't have to buy boosters. And so I got to imagine those things probably factor in quite a bit when you're trying to figure out how to make a system.
Yeah, I see the question that Jason is setting up. But I don't know. I don't think I don't know. I don't think that's a big deal. I don't know. Let's see the answer that Rubin gives.
Work, with the prizes and everything. So yeah, what are you taking away for a little bit? Tell us, a little bit about what you're here to sort of lay on us with, what we can be expecting.
Yeah, so in 2023, it's going to be definitely a year of like experimentation and transition in terms of what we can do competitively. Starting off, we do still have the World Ender Seasonal, and I'm happy to announce that part of this year is actually going to be simplifying the paths to Worlds. So instead of having seasonal points and ranked points and top fours, we're just going to have points and we're just going to have direct invites.
That is huge. That is huge. Hold on. I need to go back and listen to that. That's how huge that is.
About what you're here.
I need to go back and listen to that.
With,
that is huge information.
Yeah, so in 2023, it's going to be definitely a year of like experimentation and transition in terms of what we can do competitively. Starting off, we do still have the World Ender Seasonal, and I'm happy to announce that part of this year is actually going to be simplifying the paths to Worlds. So instead of having seasonal points and ranked points and top fours, we're just going to have points and we're just going to have direct invites.
Okay, that is huge. Because that means that it actually doesn't matter if you top seasonals anymore. Like, in a sense, it does matter because you get points, but the wording is weird. Let's continue listening.
And in the World Ender Seasonal, the winners from each shard will qualify directly into the World Final. So yeah, it's going to be kind of really spicy tournament because that's a lot on the line right away. Beyond that, in terms of what we're doing the rest of this year, is kind of setting up that system so that it can, have our path to Worlds. So basically, what we're going to start to do is we're just going to transition into a new tournament system. And the main things that we're doing to change are going to be, things that we heard from players, like wanting to just be able to have more opportunities to play competitive.
So to start off,
so there was a big cut there, by the way, but I think what Rubin was going into saying is that coming into the new year, after the seasonals that's coming up, they're completely changing the system. Like, not just like kinda like they're gonna be less seasonals. Like, they're completely changing the system in general. So we know there's gonna be the seasonal that's coming up. We know that there's gonna be Worlds. What we don't know is everything in between, which is a lot. Oh my God, that's so much, and you big that's so much things in the darkness right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, that's a lot of things in the darkness. Yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly I'm gonna end it off here, cause I think the rest of it they pretty much just talk about I forget exactly. Let's listen.
If you're saying there's gonna be a bit of a beta, is that why it's not?
Yeah, the rest of it they pretty much just talk about how they're gonna be testing things after seasonals. Rubin talks about like it's gonna be a beta basically. Like, we're gonna be in the time of like them testing things. They're gonna be beta tournaments coming up, blah blah blah, X, Y, and Z. That's pretty much what they go into talking about for the rest of the podcast. He doesn't actually go in depth talking about like tournaments that are legitimately coming up. He just says that like they're gonna need our insight, they're gonna need people to try things and such like that, so they can know what's good and what's not. But all right, we're gonna end it off here. Appreciate anybody that made it to the end of the video. I will be trying to do more reactionary videos because I actually like doing them. And yeah, we're gonna end it off here. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you guys check the links down below because I will be putting all the links to Mystic Shot, my Twitch chat, my Twitch, and also my Twitter because that's the best way to contact me. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I appreciate everybody. See you guys in the next video. Peace out.